Hi, welcome back to the channel. I can't believe that it's 3 months into the year, it's March, but I'm hoping that you've been able to at least see some of your plans beginning to emerge, beginning to, even if they're not taking shape, but you are making steps every day towards fulfilling your goals and your dreams, the things that you've set your mind and your heart on to accomplish for this year. It's already 3 months into the year and we're in March, and what a month the world has seen in terms of what's going on in Ukraine, and the catastrophe that's happening there amongst the Ukrainian people, the sadness that we've seen, and equally there's always fallout and casualties on both sides. So those that on the Russian side and those in Ukraine, and on a whole it's really, these are events that we would never ever have thought that we were going to see, particularly in fact at any time. And it's really shocking. And of course there are other things going on in our lives, our environment, the fallout from the pandemic, work, our cost of living. Everything is changing on one side, but on the other side there are also good things that are happening in our lives. And the consistency of just little things like the day. We may think, well, that's really basic, but every morning we wake up and the sun is consistent in the time that it rises. You can even go on, if you just check it out on, you Google it or whatever, you'll find out the time that the sun rises and the time that the sun sets, and that's consistent. The seasons are just about consistent. I know there's talk of global warming and things that are changing, but for those of us that live in areas of the world where seasons change, like the UK, you get summer, winter, autumn, spring, those are still pretty much consistent. So our environment is consistent and that doesn't change. And for those of us that center our hearts on the words that God says, his word doesn't change, he's consistent to us. And I'm just remembering his word in Jeremiah that says, for I know the plans that I have towards you. There are good plans to give you a future and a hope, to lift you up and not tear you down, and then to give you a future and a hope. And he also says to us, I am the Lord and I do not change. And that's a good thing. That's something that we can base our lives on. And if the Lord is saying, which he is saying, that he is consistent, then he's consistent in our lives, in our everyday lives, in the morning routine, and the getting up and the breakfast or whatever you do in the morning, the getting the children ready for school, and or the other routines that you have in the morning, the afternoon, the evening. He's consistent in our day, from the time we wake up to the time that we close the day. He's consistent. So that brings us hope. Anyway, back to the video. Today I want to talk about, how do we refresh and refocus on our plans? How do we keep our lives in balance and not be too swayed by what's going on in the world and our environment? Of course, we can't be ignorant of what's happening and we need to know what's going on. But in all of that, in all of the greater picture, there's you. There's your everyday life, there's your family, your friends, there's you at the core of all of that. So how do we stay focused and how do we refresh? The mind is the biggest area, the main area that challenges us in terms of how we're feeling, how we perceive ourselves from one day to the next, whether we can do something or whether we can't do something. And you know that the battle is always in the mind. And so it's about how do we take control of our mind, because we know we can do the things that we have written down, purposed, vision boarded, mind mapped out, or whatever it is. We know that we can achieve the things that we've planned because we've set ourselves those goals and we've kind of working out how we're going to get there. Everything that you've placed for this year, for next year, everything that you have in your heart, it isn't just because it's a fancy whim, it's because God has placed it there. And if he's placed it there, he's given you the desire for it, and he's also given us the ability to do it, all the skills and the talent or whatever it is we need. He'll bring the resources, even though we may not feel that we have them, in terms of finance, people, time, whatever it is, he will give us what we need to do it. So that isn't the issue. The issue is, how are you feeling on a Monday morning? How are you feeling when you're in the middle of doing something and all of a sudden, you just can't think. You come to a brick wall. You just can't write another part of that, I don't know, report, pamphlet, book, or whatever it is you're doing. I'm just trying to, think of ideas here. But you know what I'm talking about. So how do we stop? And what about on those days when you've just got there's just no motivation, and you're like, can I do this? Do I want to do this? Who's supporting me? Where are my fans? Where are my supporters? Where are my friends? Where's my family? Who's calling me? Somebody needs to just text me, or just let me know that they're thinking about me. Someone needs to tell me that they're praying for me. And so when you look round, there is no one. And it's at those times when you've got to motivate yourself. David, our famous man who wrote all of the Psalms, the beautiful Psalms that I love so much, King David, he didn't start off as being a king. He started off on the run. When the vision board came to David, he was told that he was going to be a king, but he didn't start off that way. He started off being on the run, living in caves, running for his life, being in fear of being murdered. So, and that's one story, and you may say that's extreme, but the point I'm trying to make is that we know what the next result is going to be, what we want to see next, but it's about how do we get there? And if we've mapped out how we're going to get there, it's about now, how do I manage this on a daily basis? How do I motivate myself? So, number one, maybe I shouldn't start off with number one. I think there are 7, so maybe I should, but I may end up with 8, 9, 10. Number one, sometimes I will just stop, full stop, and think, right, okay, hat coat, whatever it is, put your face on or not, and just go for a walk. And I'm really blessed. I don't believe in fortune, I don't believe in luck. I just believe that God places things in your lives. He places opportunities in your lives, and I call those blessings. So I have an opportunity, if you like, to be able to go out and walk by the river, and it's just beautiful just to see the river moving, to see the boats going up and down on the river, to hear the birds, to the smells, and it moves into the park, so that's pretty good. And so that helps me to kind of refocus my mind, and just to not think, to put my mind down, because I'm in control here. I'm in control of these thoughts, and they're not going to run away with me and just tell me I can't. That negativity, I just put my foot on that and say, no way. My year this year is not about thinking that way, because I'm training my mind to think the way it should think, to think the way God sees me. So that's what I do. So you may say, okay, well, I don't have a river, I don't have a park. Well, just get out, just go for a walk around the corner, walk to the shops and back, whatever it is you need to do. Take control of it. Leave your environment, leave your room, leave your house, leave your office if you can, and just go for a walk and reset. And it'll be amazing. You'll be amazed at how you feel when you get back. And I'm sure many of you have already done this. It's just a fantastic strategy. Sometimes, in fact, I'm trying to make it more regularly. I am learning to, of course, many of you may know that I like to run. I've put out some videos on my Instagram about me running, so I do like to go for a run. And also recently, in fact over the years, but I'm trying to increase my time, I go to the gym. But whatever form of exercise you do, whether it's the walk or the run or the gymming or the dancing or whatever it is you do, exercise is really important, because we need sometimes just to kind of knock our body into just an endorphin shake, if you like, and just kind of feel better. So after that half an hour or an hour or 20 minutes or whatever it is, even if it's jumping about up and down at home in your room in front of a video or something, then you will feel better. So exercise is really important. So that's number 2. Number 3 is I like to, ever so often, I change up the routine. So rather than sometimes driving home from work or from wherever it is I've been the same way, I might change up the routine, because sometimes a change of routine gets your mind to kind of shift and think in a different way. And the routine is going to bring a change of scenery, a change of, I don't know, people, if you like. I mean, when I drive home from where I work, I drive through Shoreditch, and I love Shoreditch in East London because I just love the variety, I love the innovation, I love watching what people wear, I like people watching, and I just love the changes that it brings, the new coffee shops that are opening, or the cafes, or whatever it is that catches my eye. I like to see that change. It brings a vibrancy. So, and then sometimes I might just think, you know what, it's the M25, and that's another type of change, because a lot of the time that's just fields and traffic and whatever it is. But change up your routine, do something different, take another way home, maybe switch it up on the underground. I don't know, whatever it is you need to do, but change the routine. You'll be amazed again at mentally, psychologically, how that plays on your thinking. Right, so looking down at what I have, sometimes what you can do is find a space in your way, wherever you live, your house, your apartments, wherever it is. Find a space that's a dedicated place, that's your place, and it doesn't matter where it is. Years ago, many years ago, as mad as this sounds, I had a place, and I'm going to tell you where that place was in my house. I would find there was we had kind of like a room that was a bay, and there was a sofa that was kind of in that area. Probably wasn't the best place to put it, but I found that behind that sofa was enough space for me to go and sit there and, take my tea, my coffee, my book. As mad as it was at that time in my life, and of course, I'm going back to my early 20s, and there's lots of places now for me, but it was the first time I realised that even in a large space, there's a small space. There was a space for me that I created that was my space. And sometimes you need to do that. It doesn't matter where it is. It just might be a chair in your bedroom somewhere, or You know where those places may or may not be. It may be just on your balcony. That's the space that you go that just gives you time out. But it's all about how do we relieve the mind from the pressures that it's and the work that it needs to do. How do we give the mind a chance just to break? A couple of months ago, a colleague, she's just made me laugh, and she said to me, "Do you know what I did, Brenda?" She said, there was so much going on for me that I just took myself off. So she told me she took herself off, and she went to her local town, off to Windsor, and she sat down, she went into a restaurant or a cafe, I can't remember which it was, and she had herself a large lunch, a glass of something, by herself, took herself away from her family, and just had that time to herself. And I just thought that was amazing that she just planned that day. And, you know, thinking about how amazing that was, I have done that on many times. Just get in a car and drive, you know, drive to the coast. I mean, sometimes I'm adventurous that way. I will just drive and have a day out for myself. That it's not selfish. It's just about what do I need to refocus and to refresh and to rebalance. Because when we have that, then we're more effective to our friends, our family, our spouses, ourselves. We give better and we're more effective on the plans that we have, you know, for ourselves. So, you know, that's some of the ideas that I put together. I'm sure that you've got lots of other things you do. It would be great to be able to hear from you, you know, if you just kind of write it in the comments below. And, you know, others can hear and read what you do and share, just to share your thoughts. I want to say that Jesus knew how to Yeshua knew how to take time out. He had to. He was always giving, and that's what he was about, to be able to receive from his Father and give out. But it was also as important in that giving that he was receiving. So he would disappear. He must have been really strong, and we know he was fairly tall from, you know, the history. It tells us he was possibly fairly tall, but he would walk into the mountains, high up into the mountains, and he would spend time praying and meditating and doing whatever it is that he did. We don't have anything written on what he said in terms of, we have a couple of snippets in terms of how he prayed. But what we do know is that he did take time out. It was important for him to take time out. You know that phrase, away from the maddening crowd? He needed to do that. And if he needed to do that, we need to do that. There are two really beautiful scriptures. There are in fact so many, but one that really sort of motivates me and rocks me and floats my boat often is from Philippians 4 verse 7, and it says, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will fill your heart and mind." So our minds need peace, and we need a peace that God gives, because God's peace is truth, and truth is light, and light is powerful. You know, light is colour. There are so many colours in a prism of light, and that is the shaft that we need to bring us a renewal in our minds. And again, Isaiah says, "And you will keep her in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, is stayed on the Lord, is stayed on Father, Abba, as I like to call him, because he trusts in you." And so that's the peace we need. That's the resetting we need. That's the motivation we need, and bring it on for the rest of March and April. Okay, so take care, all the best. And again, I just want to say thank you for all of those that have subscribed. I know that that's coming. For those of you that have liked the videos, those of you that have hit the bell button, and you need to, so when I bring out more videos, you will know. So continue to do that, subscribe, like, hit the bell button, and I'll see you in the next video. So all the best, and keep it up. Bye for now.